Alrighty guys, we're finally back. It's been what, like 2 months? I don't remember how many weeks. I want to say 8, but I feel like that's not right. It's been so long, and I've been just waiting on the edge of my seat, thinking about everything that last episode landed off on. I've been diving into theory videos and Reddit posts and looking at all these different things and trying to theorize how this finale could be for the second half of Volume 8, and this episode was... fine. Yeah, the episode we come back on isn't exactly the greatest from this volume. Maybe if the big hiatus wasn't between last episode and this episode, I would be more fine with it. I kept having this thought in my head that was like, I waited 8 weeks for this? Not to say it was bad, by all means. It's better than any other episode we got from Volume 5, so... And in fact, it's better than some episodes from Volume 4, and even some from Volume 7. It's just... I don't know. I was kind of boring. I was a little disappointed by it. I think it would have been much stronger if this was the episode we left off on before the hiatus. Because this really comes to conclusions to certain arcs, or gets us to certain character beats, that I think it would have been better if we had those to theorize with and to work with, like waiting with anticipation, rather than waiting 8 weeks just for it to be... oh, there it is, it's over, oh, okay. The first half of the episode was actually, like, really boring, too. Like, everything before the Hound shows up, I was just like, on a second viewing, it's like, ugh, like I could barely pay attention to it. But once the Hound shows up, it does pick up a little bit, but I do still have a few issues with things here and there. So I guess let's start from the beginning and let's dive into this episode, huh? Oh no, our redheads are all banged up.
Sorry I couldn't stick around.
You left them? May, how could you? To be honest, I really don't care. We already have a lot of people right now together. Not including just Team Rainbow, but now Penny's back, and we got Klein and the Schnees. Having May there wouldn't help much. She could be a much stronger character and get better screen time and development, not stapled to the biggest group we have currently.
It's all just... too much.
What are you talking? Yeah, it's been this way for a long while, bitch. What do you mean? It's all just too much. That my actions have consequences. Yeah, of course they do. This whole like thing with Ruby that she gets with Blake later, I don't know. It feels really contrived and stupid. Like they didn't know what to do with her this episode, so they gave her this like half-assed plot of, I'm worried we're doing the right thing. And, like, that's a fine thing to worry about, but maybe not now. Maybe don't be like, it's all so much. It's been building up. Like, this all didn't drop on you all at once. We've been leading up to this moment for quite a while. Maybe if this scene was, like, in the beginning of the volume or something, it would feel better. But, no. No.
One step at a time, my dear.
Sneezy's French? That's cute. Oh look, it's everyone's other favorite worst mom, Willow. She's here. So like people were asking me, like, cause I didn't say anything about Whitley and Weiss's hug last episode, cause I honestly don't care about Whitley, like at all. Like I know some people really like him and there's like a ton of like, he has so much potential, he could be a potentially interesting character. Yeah, he could, but currently he's, like I don't really care. Like, he's fine, and I'm apparently people were like, I saw things on Reddit where it's like, Whitley, can we give props to him for being such a good character in this episode? I'm like, well, I'm not gonna give the boy praise for not letting everyone die. Like, yeah, I'm not surprised he's choosing the side of let's help the people in the crater, just because, you know, what would he gain if he didn't? Everyone is dying. There's literally Grimm everywhere. Ironwood's forces are not helping, and that's more than apparent now, and to top it all off, the power's gone out. Why would he choose to not help in this scenario? You know, I'm not gonna praise him for doing the bare minimum of human decency. I do like how much more he is in this episode. He gets to be more than just, smarmy, I'm better than my sister. Which is nice, but like, I'm sorry. Currently, I have nothing to care about this boy. Yo, I'm just gonna throw this in. This shot of the moon, beautiful. This is beautiful. This is the best the moon's ever looked. Look at that. That's gorgeous. That's really, it's just fun compare. Volume 8. Volume 1. I'm confused why Blake accompanied Ruby on this mission, because she really does nothing to help. Like, I feel like it at most is like that thing where it's like, I want to go to the thing, but it's dark outside, and I don't want to go alone because it's scary. Blake, will you come with me because you have night vision? God, this little talk Blake has with Ruby is bad. I'm gonna say it's bad. It's really bad. It's just, first of all, her lines of dialogue, even though she's sitting here insisting Ruby's one of her best friends and she's always believed in her, the way she says it, it also kind of implies that she's never talked to Ruby before. Like, she says things that no human being would say. Like,
I was like that as a girl, and then I wasn't sure if that kind of girl could actually survive in the world.
It's definitely a pitfall that Miles has had before, which he did write this episode, where characters have the tendency to just say how they feel, or recap how they've felt in the past, and it's really bad here, and it's a little disappointing, because this scene, having Ruby and Blake actually talking to each other, just casually in this moment, would have been a lot more impactful than having Blake insist that Ruby really is her friend and she really has always believed in her. Because with this dialogue, it unfortunately just highlights how little the two have actually ever talked to each other. So I'm not sitting here, she did the opposite of what her dialogue was trying to do. Rather than convincing me, yeah, we're good friends and I trust you, Ruby, it's more just like, oh, you trust the girl you spent, I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes talking to? I don't know, just having like a normal conversation between Ruby and Blake here would have been much stronger for the scene in general than whatever half-assed emotion this is supposed to be. Ooh, that's a good shot. Ooh, that's a good shot. Before all the shit starts to hit the fan, a little thing, I like how Penny's like green blood has faded throughout the episode. Like, it started being like neon green and it has faded to like this dull washed out green. I like that. Nice touch. We're starting to do this thing and it was something I was really, really nervous about and I'm a little disappointed. It's now, every time a Grimm shows up, Ruby just breathes, closes eyes, and tries to focus. And then nothing works for like, you know, a good portion of the fight. And then she gets like bodied by whatever Grimm she's trying to focus on, and then later, at the end of the fight, her silver eyes unlocks and she makes it work. I don't want this to be a habit. I don't want Ruby to rely so much on using her silver eyes, but having it never work, because it's just resulting in Ruby's entire fight choreography is standing there doing jack shit while her friends get pummeled, because she's trying to focus on doing her silver eyes, and then it doesn't work anyway. And then we have to, like, it's like a contrived way to be like, oh, things are serious now, we're in danger. It's like, well, we were only in danger because Ruby was standing still for like 20 minutes over there. I hope they don't fall into this pit trap. I want them to do better than this.
Intruder, identify yourself.
I can't do this!
Willow!
Ugh, what are we doing with Willow? It's just, okay, this line, I think it's dumb. It's basically, we're trying to find an excuse for Willow's drinking, and yeah, I expect her to run away from serious situations, and she uses alcohol as an escape from, you know, her shitty life she has and her terrible husband, but things are different now. If I was in a situation where my daughter had come home randomly, and there are literal Grimm outside right now all the time because a giant whale witch has shown up on our doorstep and the general is bombing everything indiscriminately, I would not run and hide when my kids needed help. Like, I don't know what they're doing with Willow. Weiss, what are you doing? You can, like, launch fire or shoot. I've seen you shoot ice at targets before. What is this? What is this, like, terrible thing? This is another good shot. This episode has some really good shots in it, and I love that. Also, this part...
It's not here for me! It's here for Penny!
Gave me, like, actual, like, chills. Because I honestly was like, yeah, it's gonna take Ruby. And then she said that, and I was like, oh no! The threat, it wasn't what I thought! And it honestly surprised me. I was very excited with how this turn of events happened with the Hound going after Penny.
But there is a part of me.
It's just a part of you. Don't forget about the rest.
I can't believe you did this to me, God damn it! How could you do this to me?
Again with the random ice chunks. Weiss, you're sucking balls this episode. Go after it. Go after it. He's not going very fast. Just go after it. why are you just standing around waiting for? What the fuck? So I feel like this was just an excuse to have Willow help in the fight, be a participant in saving the day this time around, you know, with her cameras, which was, I like the fact that this was a thing that's been set up, that she has her cameras on her phone, but she doesn't need to do this. If Weiss would have just given chase, she was supposed to be one of the fastest players in our main team, and now she's just standing around, waiting, doing nothing. Like, also, I know this mansion is probably pretty big and has a lot of crisscrossing corridors, but you grew up here. You should be able to follow the Grimm pretty easily, especially if you were trying to actually keep up with him. You didn't need your mom, like, phoning you in, like, oh, he's going over to the ballroom now, blah. It's dumb. It's contrived. Not gonna lie, I was kind of expecting Whitley to unlock his glyph semblances going on in this scene, but he didn't, which is fine, whatever. I do like the fact that I expected it to be Weiss when I saw the Borbertusk charge in, but then it was Willow who did it. I do like that. That was a nice little detail there.
I didn't forget you.
Wait a minute.
Please don't forget about your brother.
Is this supposed to be the end of that, I guess I'll call it an arc, that Willow set up with Weiss last season? What? Really? No, it can't be. This didn't do anything. Nothing happened. Your brother's in danger. There's literally a demon monster inside of our house charging directly for him. Look, guys, I didn't let the demon monster kill my brother. Isn't that good? Well, yeah, but it's not like you left him behind or didn't remember him or whatever the fuck. They keep acting like these things the characters are doing is like, wow, I should be so proud. But it's like, there are Grimm in the house, literally outside, all the time. Ironwood is bombing everything. The fact that you're getting off your ass to help is not end of arc worthy. This is just what I would expect of someone who does not want to die right now. What is this? The Schnee's aspect of this episode is so disappointing, and it's a shame because the stuff other than the trite conversation between Ruby and Blake, the stuff with everyone else, especially Penny and Nora, was pretty damn good. It's just, and the Schnees get the bulk of this episode's, like, attention. I don't know. Disappointing. Klein, get out of the way, man. Stop.
I must open the vault. And then self-terminate.
Self-terminate? Now that's an interesting aspect. I'm wondering if Watts programmed this because they want the relic, but if she self-terminated, that would mean Cinder wouldn't get the maiden powers. So I wonder if this is like Watts' final, like, assholery jab to be like, see, Cinder, you couldn't even get the maiden power still, I'm wondering if this is gonna be a thing. I wonder if that's what his idea is. Interesting. Go after it! What are you all just sitting around for? If people ever bothered getting off their ass and, like, making sure the thing was dead, this episode would be, like, 5 minutes long. We get to see who's inside the Hound? Who is it? It's a guy! So yes, I know it's not fair to judge the show based off of something that I theorized would happen, but the fact that the Hound wasn't someone, like, we recognized or anything like that was a bit of a letdown, which was really the biggest thing that made me go, this was not worth waiting the hiatus to get to, because everyone was sitting there theorizing who's in the Hound. And maybe Rooster Teeth was just really hoping no one would be guessing there was a person in the Hound to begin with, but they were wrong. Everyone caught on to that, and everyone was guessing things. I like the fact that he's a dog faunus. He has doggo ears, and that is why he had dog ears. So I'm wondering if she made a Hound out of a different person, would it be a Hound again? Would it be different? Like, if she made Blake a Hound, would she become like a big panther-like thing? I don't know. RWBY does, like, as disappointing as it is, that's not like, oh, it was Torchwick in there, bleh. It is, like, RWBY does hammer it home, like,
It was a person.
Yes, it is a person. It was a person at one point in time. And the more scary aspect is knowing that Salem did it once, she could do it again. you know? Like, that's the really creepy thing, is the Grimm can be a person, and that's pretty dang creepy. And I immediately went into, like, theory mode, trying to figure out, like, who could else become a Hound? All the things everybody was theorizing, you know, it's Summer, it's Tortrick, blah, 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 blah. Those could still potentially happen. I'm not gonna keep my fingers crossed necessarily, but those could still happen. I was looking at the people who are still currently alive, and the only one I could think of was Emerald, because I really don't see Salem bothering to keep Emerald or Neo around if Cinder's not there. So, it's a bit nervous. I wonder if it has to be a Faunus, though, because he's a Faunus, and I don't know what other, like limitations making a Hound has. But after I thought about that, I realized something. Someone else pointed this out, and then I was paying attention, and I realized something. That man has silver eyes. Does it have to be a silver-eyed warrior? Because if that's the case, then that Summer theory really holds a lot more water now. I don't know, it's just disappointing that the Hound was revealed to be nobody in particular and also died this episode. Like, after waiting throughout those last 2 months, having it just end so suddenly like this, it was a bit of a letdown. It didn't feel like it was worth the wait. And that's why I think after this, if we would have had the hiatus, not only would have been a bit better of like a story arc finale kind of moment that would lead us into the next arc of the season, but it would also open up the floodgates to theorize about what else can happen with the concept of the Hound, rather than just being stuck on who would kill the Hound and who is inside the Hound. It's just a little disappointing. So, Watts survived. I'm assuming Crow probably also got out. But what happened to Jacques and Robin? Like, I think Robin could fight her way through, but things don't look too good for Mr. Schnee over there. So, that was this episode, and disappointing is the only word I can think to describe it. It wasn't bad. It was not a bad episode. It had a structured story, and they went about a 3-act structure, and the characters talked, and it was basically, on a technical level, it was fine. It was just disappointing. And I don't want to let the hiatus be the biggest thing to influence that concept for me, but it can't be something I can ignore. After all, they did split the episodes, and they said multiple times that they were not planning on splitting the episodes that way. It should have been something they planned for, because this was not an episode that was very thrilling to come back to after such a long break. But beyond the hiatus, the episode was just disappointing. The fights were fun. The fights with the Hound was a lot of fun. Blake's fight with the big centipede monster gross thing was fun. The moments with Nora and Penny all were great. They were very heartfelt, and they were really well done. But everything else, sandwiching those moments, was disappointing. Whitley and Willow felt like contrivances to the plot. Willow especially. The fact that Weiss just, like, lost 20 brain cells in order to force her mom to help her. The fact that the only tactic she used was try to summon something, which never worked, or shoot giant, slow chunks of ice at this thing. It's like, Weiss, you've been the only person who's actually been effective against flying enemies. Do something. Do something other than this, because this is lame. It feels like Weiss's skills dropped. For no good reason. Just for the sake of this episode's plot to happen. Just to have her come in and help save her mom and brother, and is distracting. And on a second viewing, it's more distracting. And then the scene with Ruby and Blake, it's just salt on the wound, I suppose. Like, it's not terrible, it's just contrived. Because it would've, the things Blake was saying while Ruby was passed out was much more heartfelt and more natural than, I used to be a young girl who didn't understand the ways of life, and then I met you, and you felt that same way, and I wasn't sure if you blah 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 blah. Like, it's very contrived. Like, it felt like no one had ever heard these characters talk to each other before at all, and they had no idea who these characters were. It was just weird, bad, not good, which is a shame, because you could have done a lot more with that scene, and what we got was just not good. So, it's a bit disappointing. This might be my harshest review yet for this season, which is a bummer. But we're not done yet, because let's check out our bingo board. I crossed off Willow and Whitley come back, or do something, or whatever. So it's a bit disappointing that this is where we left off at, but fingers crossed for next week, because I am very excited. There's elements here and there that I am very excited for. It's just a shame that this was so disappointing, especially because there was a big plot points resolution, and I really wished for more. So thank you for watching this video. Shout out to my $10 patrons. You're all amazing. Nako, Michael, James Dodds, Cool Duck, Andrew, Ramiel, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, G Extreme, Classy Critic, Surge, Dakota D, Taj, Boulder Off Bros, and Noah Perkins. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you had a lot of fun with it. What did you think of this episode? I know there's a lot of really big, like, Whitley and Willow fans out there who really liked, like, the impact they had on the plot. Tell me if that's how you feel and why, because I don't get it. Any and all thoughts you had about this episode, anything I mentioned, any theories you have, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.